I read this headline and I thought, blimey, finally someone in a newspaper has quoted something I've said. No, they didn't. Of course they didn't. Why would they? An idiot like me. The problem isn't Gary Lineker, it's the TV licence. Does sound like something I would say though, doesn't it? As a headline. And you're not wrong. Gary Lineker is just, he's just the tip of the iceberg that's the problems with the BBC. The whole problem, everything wrong with the BBC is caused by the TV licence fee. I've said it loads and loads of times. It just holds them back. They have to have this whole impartial thing, which is completely impossible to police. They have this remit of having to do nonsense stuff that no one wants to watch because it's in the public interest. And they're not incentivised to do better and run an efficient organisation. Because they're 3.7 billion-ish quid a year they get from the licence fees, and they've got a £300 million black hole. They could cut that. They could get back in the black. Of course they could. But why would they? Because then they couldn't ask for more money. And when you're getting something like over 3.7 billion quid a year fall into your lap, you're not really incentivised to try harder, are you? I mean, look at ITV or Channel 4, for instance. Right? They have to make stuff people would want to watch. They're incentivised to make stuff people will want to watch. Because the more viewers means more advertising revenue. BBC don't have that problem. They don't care. They can run 24-hour-a-day repeats. Well, they're not far off that anyway, are they? And they'll still get over 3.7 billion quid a year. It doesn't matter. It makes it. The licence fee is everything that's wrong with the BBC. Think how stretched out it is. It's got orchestras, own choirs, and local radio over there. It's got too many TV channels. It's got enormous amount of websites. You want to see the list of websites? It's got websites covering all of Africa. It's got websites covering the world in different languages. Think how many people you have to employ to write the news articles in all the languages. They got one BBC Pidgin English from Africa. It exists. It's ridiculous. And then you go all the way to the World Service, which like 3 people in the world listen to, but it costs the BBC hundreds of millions a year. So the problem isn't Gary Lineker, no. It is the TV licence fee. You stop the licence fee, you make the BBC stand on its own 2 feet, it will slim down, it will become more efficient, and it will become better for it. It will. So readers flooded to the comments section in reaction to the decision to take Lineker off the air. Many readers argued the BBC had dishonoured its commitment to impartiality by allowing Lineker to return and debated the future of Match of the Day and blah, blah, blah. So let's have a look. This is basically the top comments on the Telegraph. Let's see if any of them make any sense, do we? BBC should bring in some fresh blood on sensible salaries. This is a great opportunity to clear the decks. BBC should bring in some fresh blood on sensible salaries. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Lineker, again, I just don't understand. If that's the market rate, it's the market rate, all right? 1.3 million quid a year for the BBC. But you think all of the people that are on the BBC, some of the news journalists that work a lot of hours and they're top-end news, not in my, but generally top-end news journalists, can't earn anywhere near that. And all he does is a couple of days a week talk about football with his mates. I fail to understand why you can't get any other ex-footballer that wants to be on the telly for 100 grand, which still sounds like a lot to me, but you could. There's no way he's worth that. If he thinks he can triple his salary, which he said recently on BT Sport or going to ITV or Sky, go then. Go on, what are you still sitting here for? Gary Lineker couldn't care less about the licence fee payer. Tim Davies is kidding himself. Gary Lineker is only interested in Gary Lineker. He couldn't care less about the licence fee payer. For the BBC to allow him back on air without even acknowledgement that his tweet may have been offensive to some people is a travesty. What pathetic leadership. Well, I've got a sneaky feeling that Tim Davies' hands might have been tied. It looks like there was a loophole in Lineker's contract that we'll never get to know about. We'll never get to see his contract, will we? But I think he had him over a barrel, and Tim Davies had no choice but to bring him back in. He had no choice about it, or there would have been legal action, which would have knackered Tim Davies' career. Really, wouldn't it? I don't think they had a choice. It doesn't look good for the BBC, granted. I don't think he had a choice. The government must act now on behalf of their voters and cease the licence fee. Utterly pathetic that we're not even getting an apology. Does the BBC have no clue how insulted and upset the majority are? Even more ignored than before. The majority wanted Lineker to go. The government must act now on behalf of their voters and cease the licence fee. I do enjoy seeing this sort of thing out in the public. I mean, I've been saying it for years, and there's people on here And people have been in this fight a lot longer than I've been in it. I'm quite new to the whole thing, right? There's people with a lot more skin in the game than me have been saying it for a long, long time. And now to see this debate going proper, full-on mainstream with people who would always supported the BBC now saying, yeah, it's probably time for the licence fee to go. It's about blooming time. It's ridiculous that in 2023 you have to pay a tax to the BBC in order to watch ITV. It's the biggest scam going. And luckily people are cottoning onto it now. Match of the Day is significantly more popular without the vocab challenge pundits. Proof if it was ever needed that Match of the Day is significantly more popular without the pundits. Yeah, they're talking about it. It got 500,000 more viewers without anyone presenting it, just showing the clips, than it did one of the highest ones with Lineker presenting it. But I don't think that's a fair comparison, because people were just tuning in to see whatever freak show the BBC came up with to replace Lineker for that week. That wouldn't have continued. There's no way it would have continued. The numbers would have cottoned off. It would have been gone. It's it was a one-off. I don't think you can quote those figures. I don't think that's fair. The problem isn't Lineker, it's the TV licence. Most companies' social media policies, which of course cover Twitter, Facebook, etc., are utterly draconian. My only issue is the price I have to pay to access any news or views on non-BBC channels. Because I won't pay the BBC ransom, I can never access any visual news as it happens. I have to listen to the radio or get slightly old and cold news on YouTube. The problem isn't Lineker, it's the TV licence. Yes, well said. It's well said. As I said a minute ago, I find it astounding that the BBC have got away with it for this long, that you have to pay us in order to watch someone else live. How the hell do you get away with that? How do you get away with that? It's like McDonald's saying, yeah, you can eat in Burger King or KFC if you like, but you've got to pay us first in order to do it. Bugger off. It's mad. It's absolute madness. And it's great that more people's eyes are coming round to it. And I think there's going to be some change coming soon. So the BBC has the TV licence by Royal Charter, and that expires in 2027. So we're 2023 now. Stuff's got to be decided by next year. It's got to be signed off by 2024, because if you leave it any later than that, you only give the BBC a couple of years to implement any changes they might have to do, like going commercial or subscription, whatever. They can rightly say, we haven't got time to do it, we need another 5 years or another 10 years, whatever, and they will get it. And probably fair, it's going to take them a couple of years to turn all this around, isn't it? Although that said, don't forget, right, that the BBC own 100% the UK TV network, so Dave, Gold, all of that. And they show ads on BBC shows that you long since paid for with your TV licence fees. Guess who provides the ads for that channel? It's on the website, you can see it's public information. It's Channel 4. So they've got the infrastructure in place to show advertising. They have someone who can provide the advertising. Most of the shows have ad breaks in them anyway. There's idents like between shows, isn't there? That as long as, you know, where they're showing trailers for other shows and stuff. They're, as long as ad breaks, they're ready to rock and roll. Just show ads. Just show ads. So I'm interested to see what's going to go. I think we're going to see some change this year, and I'm interested. Let's put it on. I'm interested. I'm enjoying it at the minute. So what do you think about all this? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, because that way, hopefully I'll see you in another video again soon, won't I? Ta-da.